Welcome in, everybody. We got myself, we got JJ, and we got Monday Night Football. Not one, but two games. We're going to break everything down for you guys and give you guys a parlay at the end, like we always do. So make sure you watch all the way through. Welcome in, everybody. JJ, how are we doing, man?
I'm feeling great, but I'm feeling even better now that I realized yesterday that we have two games to work with. I didn't even
Oh, yeah.
realize that, but hopefully at least one of them is good.
Yep. Can never complain about more football. And the two games we got today, we have the Bears versus the Vikings, a nice, tough divisional game. And we have the Raiders and Falcons. And we'll just kick things off and get right into it. We'll start off with the first game, which is a divisional game, the Bears and the Vikings. Bears are away, traveling to the Vikings. But I think they pose a more difficult match than we like to believe. They have a new play caller the last few games, and he's been holding his own. They played a couple weeks ago, and that was his first game. Showed himself a little bit, showed the changes in the offense, that it's more quick throws, less time to throw, lower A dot. But I think he's done much better than Shane Waldron, who was taking over beforehand. Not that the bar was set very high. The main issue for them here is that they're going to have trouble in the run game. Rashawn Johnson's out. DeAndre Swift is questionable. He might not play, but we don't know for sure yet. And that leaves us with Travis Homer as the only 100% healthy back going against a Minnesota Vikings run defense that is pretty elite. So they're going to be banking on the play calling of the pass game. And I'll let JJ get into kind of how that matchup shows itself here.
Yeah, with the Vikings defense, they play a lot of too high as they have all season. Like it's not even close to anywhere else in the league. And they also blitz at a high rate. Caleb Williams did all right last time. I'm pretty sure he did throw for over 300 yards. Yeah, 340 with 2 touchdowns. I think getting the ball out quick versus this defense is going to be key, especially because I feel like the offensive line has been regressing a little bit even more. It already hasn't been good, but plenty of options to throw to. Well, I wouldn't say Roma Dunze is an option because you just simply can't get the ball to him no matter what. But it seems to be able to perfectly throw the ball to everybody else. But I think Keenan Allen should be the go-to guy here. He has been since the offensive coordinator change. And I think what he said, 15 targets, 8 targets, and something else. But
In the 3 games, he had 15 targets, 8 targets, and 5 targets. The 5 targets was last week versus San Francisco.
yeah, they wasn't doing anything against San Francisco, so it didn't matter. But I mean, yeah, Keenan Allen, I mean, he should be the wide receiver one, and wide receiver ones against the Vikings have done well. People have been targeting him all season. Pretty sure they don't press, if I remember correctly. So, not pressing Keenan, he's going to find a lot of holes in the zone defense. So, I mean, I feel like it's that simple.
100%. We know Vikings love to play too high, so that's going to leave the middle of the field open for the slot, which is Keenan Allen. That goes to show in just a little bit of the matchup data for the Vikings. While they're not weak against the slot, that is where they're weaker relative to the other receiving positions. So it is more of a Keenan Allen game. The one thing that we can add is that they're one of the weaker teams against the deep ball in terms of completion percentage and yards per attempt, which screams Romeo Odunze, right? The issue is over 50% of Odunze's air yards are non-catchable air yards. So it's not a matter of if he gets the targets. It's a matter of when he does, is Caleb Williams actually going to put it in his hands? So we'll
Is
see
it
what happens
catchable?
there. Yeah, is it catchable? So we'll see what happens there. I don't really want to bet on Odunze because you're not only betting on the matchup, you're also betting on just like, is it a catchable play? And usually I like to bet on things that I can predict, which is unfortunately not something we can. I think Keenan Allen is the best way to target this defense. And on the Viking side, I think the reads get much more clear. So first off, the Bears don't defend the run well, especially not against the zone scheme that the Packers like to, or not the Packers, the Vikings like to run. Sorry, Aaron Jones used to be on the Packers, as most of you guys know. And so the run game is going to be hard for them to stop. The pass game gets interesting, though, because they're really good against wide receiver ones, which means Justin Jefferson. And if they can stop Justin Jefferson, usually that means good things. The issue now is that TJ Hawkinson joined the mix the last few weeks, and he's actually been really good. His snap share is going up, and with that, Addison has been going off as well. His air yard share has been upwards of 40% every single week for the last 4 weeks. So the offense has seemed to open up with Hawkinson there. Really, the only issue that could arise with this passing offense now is how much do we trust Sam Darnold, JJ?
I mean, the system helps him a lot. I think any other system he'd be in, we would see the old Sam Darnold. But I mean, it's been working for him. He's mastered this offense, in my opinion, right now. He just needs to play with some confidence. But I think the Bears did take out Justin Jefferson last time. And I mean, as we've seen all season, they have done a very good job taking out the number one receiver. And I think it should be an Addison and Hawkinson game. The Bears do play a ton of single high, and they do get beat deep. So, I mean, Addison, if you want to take a longest reception right here, go right ahead. I think there's a great spot for him. Hawkinson, the Bears have been struggling with tight ends. I think this is a great spot for him as well. I think he had over 100 yards last time as well.
Yeah, he did. Or I'll double check to make sure, but I know it was definitely up there. Last game against Chicago, 114 yards on 68% of snaps and 9 targets. And by the way, Chicago has just been getting killed versus tight ends. Most recently, George Kittle just put 151 yards on their head. So Hawkinson is a great target.
I love it.
All right, let's get into the next game, and we have the Raiders and the Falcons. The biggest thing you need to know, no Max Crosby for the Raiders. And although the Falcons have been struggling, the Raiders were already bad. And now they don't have Max Crosby. I have zero confidence in this Raiders team, offense or defense. I'm going to be completely honest, JJ. I'll put it very bluntly. And I hope I'm wrong, because if I'm wrong, that means we get a more interesting game. But I don't see a way out for this Raiders team to make this game competitive at all. I don't know. Is there any way, JJ?
Yeah, when your starting quarterback works for DoorDash, it doesn't really help at all.
Desmond Ritter's just I wanted so bad for him to come into the NFL and just surprise people and do well. It's definitely not happened. And people will call this a revenge game for Desmond Ritter. I think this is going to be a revenge game for the Atlanta Falcons for having to succumb to watching him play quarterback for that team. So
yeah,
it's going to be a disaster. We'll get into some of the stats. The first off is that the Raiders run a lot of inside zone scheme, and the Falcons are quite literally one of the best defenses in the NFL against the inside zone. I think they're top 3 in both explosive rush rate and EPA per attempt. So explosive plays, normal plays, it doesn't matter. The Falcons have been stopping it, and the Raiders were already debatably the worst run offense in the NFL. So we can just put that to the side right there. They're not going to run the ball. As far as passing the ball, the Falcons can get beat through the air. But when the quarterback is Desmond Ritter, I don't have much confidence for that to happen multiple drives in a row. So they might get exposed themselves as a bad passing defense on a couple drives here and there. But I don't think Desmond Ritter, he might expose them for it once or twice. But I don't think he's going to be able to take all the opportunities that they need. On the other side of the ball, we have the Falcons offense. They run a lot of outside zone. The Raiders aren't horrible at defending it, but they aren't great either. And then you throw in Max Crosby being out, and I don't think it's going to matter. I think they're going to run on just fine. As far as the passing game, Kirk Cousins has been bad lately. This feels like a good bounce back spot. Just like get the flow and the rhythm of the game back underneath him. It just feels like it's staring at us in the face here.
I mean, with no Max Crosby, I think he has to bounce back right here. Yeah. If not, they're going to be knocking on his door real soon.
Oh, yeah, but the Michael Penix pick is going to come in real handy if this doesn't get sorted out soon. But, I mean, that's the other thing. Everybody's so quick to jump on you drafted Michael Penix, you can use him now train. The Falcons were 6-3. Kirk Cousins was playing well during that period and was getting praise. Pretty much every quarterback that's not Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, Burrow, Herbert has 3-4 game spells like this. Kirk Cousins is, until this extends like further, I get that it's like tight times and you don't have the luxury of waiting as much as you want. but he's shown that he can do it. So let's just let him go and keep doing it.
And the other thing is he has played some 3 really good defenses in a row. You got the Broncos, the Chargers, and the Vikings.
Exactly. So this Raiders team is definitely not either of those 3 teams.
Yeah.
Oh, as far as field goal props, if I'm not mistaken, you don't want to take any field goal props against Minnesota, but all of Atlanta, Chicago, and the Raiders are all good field goal kicking matchups. I wouldn't take the Vegas kicker just because, again, I don't have much confidence in Desmond Ridder driving the team down the field. So I think the Minnesota kicker and the Atlanta kicker are both solid options as far as kicking props. Think that's everything?
That's everything.
All right.
Parlay time.
Parlay time. And as you guys know, the method that we've been using is a spread pick, a touchdown pick, and a prop. Last night, JSN. Actually, I'm not going to blame JSN. This was Carson Wentz's fault. That was the worst quarterback
Carson
hat
Wentz is
I've
crazy.
ever seen. 1.7 yards per attempt. Carson Wentz take a bow.
I
That
mean,
was a disaster.
Sam Howell.
JSN had like 5 targets inside the 25-yard line when Geno Smith was playing the first half. Love the read. We're moving on to today. And for the touchdown prop, we're going Aaron Jones. This guy has had some of the highest red zone opportunity share in the NFL, mostly because it's been both in the rushing and receiving game. And now he gets a Bears defense that has one of the highest percentage of rushing touchdowns allowed in the NFL. It just makes way too much sense. So Aaron Jones, get in the end zone. And the next pick, staying in the same game for the prop, is TJ Hawkinson, 40-plus receiving yards. He has been dominating single high coverage. His numbers go up like crazy in his yards per out run. And I'm talking like not tight end numbers. Like he's putting up elite wide receiver numbers in terms of efficiency against single high coverage. With his snap share going up 40 yards is light work against a defense that, for whatever reason, refuses to defend tight ends. And the last pick is the spread pick. And we're finally getting the other game. We're taking the Falcons minus 5.5. Like we said, Raiders just have nothing. It feels like there's nothing going for them matchup-wise, health-wise. It doesn't matter. Everything is just staring them at the face for them to just get dog walk today. We can talk about the systems. There's a bunch of them. I don't even care about those. This line, 5.5, just doesn't even feel real. So those are the 3 plays. We got a boost on ESPN, and we're going to lock that in for half a unit is what they max this at. So that's what we're tracking it as. But like and subscribe if you're tailing. We appreciate the support. JJ, thank you as always, man. You wanna send us off on this video for us? You got anything to say?
We better hit this fucking lotto in this parlay. That's all I'm saying.
No, we got this shit. I'm excited. All right, take care,
Shoulda hit
everybody.
last time.
We'll see you guys on Thursday.